He tried to humiliate her on her first day. But she stood so tall, the whole school would never forget her name. The bell rang sharp at 8 a.m., and room 204 filled with chatter as students took their seats. When Principal Harris entered with a girl beside him, everything fell quiet. She stood confidently, black braids, denim jacket, and a calm face that didn't match her nerves. "This is Amara," the principal announced. "She's transferring here from Atlanta. Let's make her feel welcome." As Amara scanned the room, most eyes looked curious. But one boy, Brad, leaned back in his chair with a smirk. "Seats in the back," he mumbled loud enough for others to hear. "Where you people usually go?" A few kids chuckled. Most looked away. Amara didn't flinch. She walked past him without a word and took the open seat in the second row. Minutes into the lesson, Brad accidentally dropped his book near her desk, leaned down, and whispered, "You don't belong here." Still, she said nothing. But when the teacher left to grab something from the office, Brad stood up, walked over, and tugged at her backpack. "Come on, let's find you a better class, maybe one across town." The class gasped. No one moved. Then Amara stood up. Not in fear, not in tears. She calmly faced him and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You know what's funny? I expected math problems today. I didn't expect to meet one standing in front of me." The class froze. Brad's grin faded. "And by the way," she added, "I sit where I want. I learn where I want. You don't get to drag me anywhere, ever." Just then, the teacher returned and heard everything. The room went silent. Mr. Langston, their teacher, paused at the door, eyes shifting from Brad to Amara. "What's going on here?" he asked sharply. No one spoke. Then one brave student, Jason from the third row, stood up. "Sir, Brad tried to drag Amara out of her seat. She stood up to him." Mr. Langston's face darkened. "Brad, office, now." Brad scoffed, trying to play it cool. "It was just a joke." "Now," Mr. Langston repeated, firmer. As Brad slouched out of the room, someone clapped. Then another. And before Amara could blink, half the class was applauding, not just because Brad got sent out, but because someone had finally stood up to him. It just happened to be the new girl. After class, a few students came up to her. "Hey, I'm Mia," one girl said. "That was epic." Another boy added, "He's bullied people for months." No one ever said anything. Amara shrugged. Sometimes silence makes the bully louder. At lunch, she sat alone at first, out of habit. But within minutes, 3 students joined her. "You're brave," one of them said, "and we could use more of that around here." By the end of the day, Amara wasn't just the new girl anymore. She was the girl who stopped a bully with words, not fists, and earned respect without asking for it. Still, something lingered in her heart. She hadn't come here to fight battles. She just wanted to belong. But maybe, just maybe, standing up for herself was how that belonging would begin. The next morning, Amara walked through the school gates with her head held high, but she wasn't prepared for what she saw. A group of students had written her name in colorful chalk near the entrance. Amara, the one who stood tall. Underneath, someone added, "She spoke for all of us." She paused, heart pounding. She didn't expect recognition, and definitely not kindness. Just then, Mia ran up beside her, grinning. "Pretty cool, right? We did it after practice." Amara smiled, a little unsure. "Why?" "Because you made it easier for the rest of us to say something." In history class, Mr. Langston used the first 10 minutes to speak directly to the students. "Yesterday was a turning point," he said. "What happened wasn't just about discipline. It was about dignity, and Amara showed what real courage looks like." She shifted in her seat, uncomfortable in the spotlight. But the class clapped again, this time slower, steadier, with more meaning. As the week went on, everything began to shift. Brad didn't return. Rumor had it he'd been suspended and assigned to counseling. But more importantly, Amara noticed something subtle but powerful. Kids were more careful with their words. Jokes that used to come with sharp edges started softening. Even quiet students seemed more open, more seen. One afternoon, the counselor called her in. "We've had other students open up since Monday," she told Amara gently. "You gave them a voice. How would you feel about joining the peer leadership program?" Amara blinked, surprised. "Me?" The counselor smiled. "You turned a moment into a message. That's leadership." She didn't have to think long. Something inside her had already shifted. She'd started as a girl trying to blend in. Now she was someone others were willing to follow. A month later, the school held an assembly. The gym was packed, buzzing with restless energy. Few students knew why they were there until Principal Harris walked to the mic and introduced a student voice who reminded us of our values. Then Amara stepped onto the stage. She took a deep breath, gripping the edges of the podium. The lights felt hot, and the sea of faces made her chest tighten. But she didn't flinch. "I didn't come here to prove anything," she began. "I came here hoping for peace. But sometimes peace only comes when someone decides to say, 'Enough.'" She paused. A few teachers nodded. Some students leaned in. "I wasn't brave because I wanted to be," she continued. "I was brave because no one else stood up first. And if you've ever been scared to speak, I want you to know, you don't need permission to matter." The room was silent. Not out of boredom, out of respect. After the assembly, dozens of students approached her. Some she didn't even know. They shared stories of feeling invisible, pushed aside, afraid to stand out. Amara listened to everyone. From that day forward, everything changed. She led discussions during lunch about kindness. Helped a student report a bullying incident in the hallway. Even teachers sought her input on how to better support new kids. She wasn't the new girl anymore. She was the right girl, at the right time, in the right place. And it all began because she stood up, not just for herself, but for everyone who couldn't. If Amara's story moved you, share it. Because somewhere out there, someone's still waiting for a reason to stand tall, and your voice might just be it.